The movie begins in Mumbai, with a news reporter introduces the audience to the sensational book Hum Tum, with Hum being the man and Tum being the woman, penned by the renowned cartoonist, Karan. Within a mere week, this masterpiece has flown off shelves, boasting over 10,000 copies sold. And Karan will be talking with the press for the first time today. At the press conference, a reporter is curious about Karan's journey from a cartoonist to a writer. He explains that from his cartoons and his book, he is trying to understand women. But it seems like that he would need to write a few more books to understand such complex beings. At his response, a female reporter interjects, suggesting that Hum Tum might just be Karan's covert autobiography. With a bittersweet smile, he says that a successful love story is best left untold, and there is no wisdom in dissecting the failed ones. Yet, he passionately asserts that incomplete love stories don't exist, for true love always finds its destined path. When asked about his love life, he comments that his one true love came into his life several times, but fate seemed to play its hand, leaving him bereft of luck. With Karan reminiscing about his love, we are taken 9 years back in time to Delhi. Amidst the bustling Delhi airport, stands Rhea and her mother, Parminder Bobby Prakash, bubbling with excitement as Rhea prepares to embark on her journey to New York. Bobby beams with pride, exhilarated that her daughter is the first in their family set to explore beyond the borders. With happy tears in both of their eyes, they hug each other, Rhea admitting that she will miss her mom. In another corner of airport is a younger Karan. His mom, Anju, bids him a teary-eyed farewell as he sets off for the States to pursue higher education. She inquires about his passport and ticket. He assures her that he is big enough to look after himself. But to deny his claims, his friend, Mihir, arrives holding Karan's passport and ticket. Mihir finds solace in the fact that Karan's girlfriend Shalini awaits him in New York, assuming responsibility for his well-being. At Shalina's mention, Karan shrugs, saying that girls keep coming and going in his life, showing his carefree nature regarding women. His mother slaps him on his head, ordering him to respect women. Sheepishly, he looks downward, silently acknowledging her words. As the three of them are busy talking, their attention is drawn to Rhea and Bobby's heartfelt exchange. Witnessing their emotional reunion, Karan can't help but smirk cynically. Right then, his father calls him asking about his passport and ticket. Karan is annoyed at everyone for thinking of him as a careless person. Yet, before ending the call, he extends an unexpected invitation to his father, inviting him to spend the upcoming vacation period with him abroad. As Karan settles into his seat aboard the plane, he's surprised to find himself seated next to Rhea. He settles down, thinking that she will be looking at him, desperate to engage in a conversation. But he turns, only to discover her gazing out the window, lost in her thoughts. When their meal arrives, Rhea dines with refined grace, while a sneeze from Karan accidentally interrupts her poise, much to his embarrassment. Throughout the flight, Karan's time is mostly occupied with doodling, chuckling to himself, and playfully provoking Rhea's annoyance. 3 hours into their journey, he finally gives up his idea of not talking to her and asks for her name, initiating a tentative conversation. As they shake hands, the plane hits a turbulence, prompting Karan to jokingly remark on the momentous nature of their meeting. Despite his attempts at conversation, Rhea plugs in her headphones, seeking refuge from Karan's banter. During their layover in Amsterdam, Karan proposes the idea of exploration of the city, citing Rhea's existing visa status. She is shocked on how he knows about the visa, and it turns out that he checked her purse while she was asleep. She seethes in anger, but softens when Karan apologizes, eventually agreeing to join him in discovering the city. As they explore together, he comments that he is curious as to how their story will end, and she rolls her eyes. They visit a museum, and while Rhea checks the art, Karan indulges in checking out the female visitors. When she comments that from the way he looks, it seems like he is scanning the girls with an X-ray machine. He just sighs and jests about wishing for such a capability. At his weird wishes, she thanks God that all men are not alike. He laughs at her innocence and informs her that all men are same, fixated on being with a woman, just to boast about it later to their friends. Disgusted, Rhea departs, condemning men's behavior, prompting Karan to question why women aren't more like men. They banter while walking through the city, and to shut her up, he kisses her, which earns him a resounding slap from the unyielding Rhea. Their flight to New York is spent ignoring one another, and on seats far from each other. Upon reaching the airport, Karan approaches Rhea, seeking to reconcile by citing her slap as an equalizer for his impulsive kiss. But she orders him to shut up. Rhea expresses her initial perception of him as a foolish yet respectful individual, only to be disillusioned by his true nature, perceiving him just like everyone else. He is a ridiculous person, with no respect for women. She bids him goodbye, stating that this is the end of their story, with no chance of future encounters. As they part ways at the airport, both Rhea and Karan are unaware of what destiny has in store for them. Later in a scene from Karan's cartoon, Hum Tum, they get into a fight, with her calling him sick, and him calling her silly. 6 months later, after landing in New York, fate once again brings Rhea and Karan together. While he is in Central Park with his girlfriend, he spots Rhea cycling. He approaches her, but she tries her best to ignore him. He laughs and tries to hug her, but she swats his hands away, saying that she was avoiding him. He asks her to forget the incident, and comments that he always knew there was a story between them. However, before their narrative can unfold further, Shalini, Karan's girlfriend, recognizes Rhea as her childhood friend. As she questions how Rhea and Karan know each other, panic begins to set in his stomach. Learning about Karan's behavior towards Rhea in their encounter, Shalini erupts in anger and breaks up with him. Blaming Rhea for his unsuccessful relationship, they part ways on bad terms. Back in the world of Hum and Tum, Tum is engrossed in reading when Hum persistently annoys her, even resorting to derogatory remarks about women being gold diggers. Karma plays its part, and Hum is hit when a coconut falls from the tree onto his head. 3 years after the catastrophic meeting of Central Park, in Delhi, Karan's mom is on the phone striving to orchestrate a wedding that seems to be slipping out of her control. Suddenly struck by a realization, she swiftly commands Karan to assist her in managing the wedding preparations. Fast forward to 1 week later, an annoyed Karan begrudgingly lends a hand in the wedding arrangements. Interrupted by a call from his colleague, Susie, who informs him that if he doesn't come to work, he will be fired from the job. Karan casually dismisses the warning, confident in an offer from the Times of India to publish his cartoons, promising financial gain. Amidst the chaos, the bride's family arrives, and Karan, unaware of what's in store, greets them, only to be stunned to find Rhea among them after nearly 3 years. Turns out Rhea is the bride, and she orders him to get her stuff out of the car and to her room. He then bumps into Bobby, Rhea's mom. He compliments her beauty, and she laughs it off by wishing him luck in his attempts to impress the girls. Later, Rhea needs to visit her dress designer, but it turns out that there is no car available, and unfortunately, she relies on Karan for a ride. On their way, he engages in small talk, asking if her wedding is arranged or if she fell in love. Rhea discloses that she and the groom, Samir, are former classmates and are now getting married. Amid the wedding preparations, Anju and Bobby engage in a heartfelt conversation. Anju admires Bobby's vibrant spirit, but expresses concern about her son, Karan, who consistently steers clear of marriage. The scene switches to Karan, sitting with all the girls, voicing his staunch beliefs about marriages draining the love out of relationships, and that people are better off not getting married. Predictably, this sparks another heated debate between Rhea and Karan, with her advocating for marriage while he vehemently opposes it. As the auspicious wedding day dawns, Samir arrives with his entourage, and amidst the company of witnesses, Rhea and Samir unite in matrimony, solemnizing their union. As they both perform the wedding rituals, Karan looks from afar with a subtle smile on his face, reminiscing about their shared encounters and moments. A few days later, as Rhea and Samir leave for their honeymoon, Bobby and Karan arrive to say goodbye. While seeing Karan flirting with a girl, Samir confesses that he had done this sort of thing a million times in his life, but now he is stuck with one girl for life. Karan watches him with horror on his face, but he just laughs and says that Rhea has taken the right decision by marrying him. Before departing, he advises Karan that women don't need men, but men do, and with the passage of time he would be able to understand this phenomenon. That relationships aren't solely about personal desires, but entail understanding and fulfilling the needs of a partner. On the other hand, in the world of Hum Tum, Tum is busy building a sandcastle when Hum pops out of nowhere, startling her. She sighs and says that the moment she forgets all about him, he pops out of thin air. He laughs at her reaction, stating that it turns out she misses him when he is gone. Their banter quickly escalates into an argument, with Hum asserting that a girl and a boy can never be friends, since girls inevitably expect love after friendship, a sentiment Tum finds repulsive. Their constant clashes result in Hum playfully destroying Tum's sandcastle before departing. Another 3-year pass, and now Karan finds himself in the charming city of Paris. There he meets his dad, Arjun Kapoor, who is busy singing for a girl. After the song ends, Arjun drives his son to his place. On their way, Karan appreciates his dad's amazing career as a fashion photographer, but complains that he keeps changing his home after every few years. Arjun laughs and says that he is running from his wife, but Karan doesn't find this joke funny. Arriving at Arjun's home, Karan is touched to find his mother's pictures adorning the walls, stirring emotions within him. A few days later, Karan is traveling via train when he hears a familiar voice. He follows the voice and finds himself face to face with Rhea. He learns that she's established her own boutique in Paris, and when she inquiries about him, he tells her that he is here to write a book about his characters, Hum and Tum, a story in which they finally fell in love. Her station arrives, and she gets up to leave, wishing him luck for his career. As Rhea's stop approaches, they bid farewell, and in passing, Karan sends his regards to Samir, unknowingly casting a shadow over Rhea's expression. She reveals the absence of Samir in her life before departing. Over a meal with his father, Karan expresses his desire to reconnect with Rhea and understand her circumstances. His father motivates her, and he finally musters up courage to call her. Bobby answers the call, recognizing Karan after a moment, and inviting him over. Karan gets there immediately, and it is where he learns the devastating truth from Bobby that Samir passed away a year after their wedding, shattering Rhea's life. Bobby is worried about her daughter, who sits still like a stone for hours, and wants to get lost in the hustle and bustle of Paris. After hearing Rhea's heart-wrenching story, Karan decides to visit her at work. He accompanies her home, offering his condolences. As he prepares to depart, Rhea watches him leave with a subtle smile, signaling a moment of comfort amidst her grief. Next day, Karan calls her and invites her for lunch, but she politely declines the offer, saying that she can't make it because her schedule is too tight. However, to her surprise, Karan arrives with Chinese takeout. She inquires if he is doing all this out of sympathy, but he hands her the bill for the food and says that they are going to split it in half, debunking any notions of sympathy. They have lunch together, and he even helps her with the work. Later they go out for a walk. As he sees her speaking French so fluently, he makes a playful bet to make the people in the park converse in Hindi. Initiating a Hindi song, Karan's infectious enthusiasm prompts everyone around to join in, winning his bet and eliciting laughter from Rhea. Later, when he goes back to his dad's place, he kicks him out, saying that if he wants to stay with him, he must actively spend time together. Arjun lets his son in, on the condition that they go meet Rhea. Next day, they both arrive at Rhea's place. Karan helps Bobby in the kitchen, when she confides in Karan, expressing her desire for Rhea to remarry and seeking Karan's help in finding a suitable match. On the other hand, Rhea is with Arjun, who is taking her pictures. Seeing her smile reminds him of his wife, Anju. Rhea notices the change and comments that his wife is a beautiful lady, and Arjun narrates his love story, recounting how he fell for Anju's simplicity when he was a fresh graduate. They got married, but things started getting difficult over time. He reveals the strain in their relationship, sharing the story of their growing distance during a 6-month photography campaign in America. During his time there, he kept waiting for her phone call, but she never called him, nor did he. Hence the distance between them increased. Hearing this conversation, Karan becomes emotional. Arjun seeks forgiveness from his son, who, with a sad smile, states that he forgave him long ago, but cannot forget what transpired. Karan breaks down in tears, prompting Arjun to embrace him tightly, apologizing once more. He just laughs it off, saying that he isn't the one he should be asking forgiveness from. Their moment ends when Bobby arrives to tell them that lunch has been served. Later, as they are leaving Rhea's place, they find Karan's friend Nicole waiting for him. He leaves with her, and they all laugh at his flirtatious attitude. A few days later, Rhea arrives at Karan's place to take them to the airport. But Arjun refuses to go, because goodbyes are always so hard for him. Karan hugs his dad, and leaves with Rhea. At the airport, she reminisces about their first meeting, and how she hated him after that. He smiles at the fact that she remembers so much about him. He finally says that now he feels that he has a story for his characters, Hum and Tum. She wishes him luck, and admits that she is going to miss him. Before leaving, Karan confidently states his belief that their paths will cross again in this lifetime. In the realm of Hum Tum, Hum and Tum finally forge a friendship. 3 months later in Mumbai, Mihir and Karan are playing squash when he says that Rhea is coming back to India in a few days, and he wants Mihir to pick her up from the airport. Mihir is suspicious about Karan's intentions, and upon asking, Karan drops a bomb saying that he wants Mihir and Rhea to get married. Mihir counterattacks, suggesting that if anyone should marry Rhea, it should be Karan himself. However, Karan dismisses the idea, claiming he's the kind of guy parents warn their daughters about, while Mihir is a paragon of virtue. 3 days later, Mihir reaches the airport to receive Bobby and Rhea. Turns out Bobby knows about Karan's plan, and plays along. He drives them to her aunt's place, and on the way, Bobby asks about his life and business, while Rhea reads the newspaper for Hum and Tum. In the middle of the night, a phone call from Karan wakes Rhea up. Turns out he is standing outside her house. As she invites him in, the first thing he asks for is food. As he enjoys his snacks, they engage in small talk about their homeland, and the peace which comes from being back home. Rhea reveals that she left India to avoid being forced into an arranged marriage. However, Karan, determined to see her wedded, attempts to convince her. He pretends to be a potential match, and they create a fake scenario talking about their preferences for marriage. They even plan on getting a dog to complete their family. In the heat of the moment, Karan says that he will always love her the most, but when things start to get a bit too real, he backs up, saying that she can get married to someone else and have a happy life. The next day, Rhea goes over to Karan's place and meets his mom Anju. She hands her a beautiful pendant, saying that it is a gift from Arjun. Anju's smile drops, but she takes it. She then goes out with Karan to visit the markets, and Karan invites Mihir to join them for lunch. Rhea doesn't like the idea of Mihir joining them, but when Karan leaves them at the last moment to have lunch with his friend Diana, she asks Mihir to drop her back home. During their ride back home, Mihir reveals it's his birthday, and they later celebrate together. Diana joins the celebration, instantly connecting with Mihir. They hit it off, revealing their prior conversations regarding work. As they take to the dance floor, Rhea observes their immediate connection, musing that sometimes one encounter is all it takes to find someone special. A few days later, Mihir and Diana get engaged, ruining Karan's plan of marrying Mihir. and Rhea. Amidst the party, an intoxicated Diana inadvertently spills the beans about Karan's plan to matchmake Rhea and Mihir, causing Rhea to storm out in anger and disappointment. Karan follows her and finds her crying. Rhea expresses her frustration, accusing Karan of making a mockery of her and their friendship by scheming behind her back. He tries to justify that he thought Mihir would be a perfect match for her, and all he wanted was for her to be happy, but she asserts that instead of assuming what's best for her, he should have inquired about her desires before intervening. Angrily, she instructs him not to follow her this time. As Rhea's leaving, she encounters Mihir, who says that they can't hide their feelings for each other, because everyone can see how much Karan and Rhea love each other. He says that Karan loves her with all he has, but doesn't know it himself. He forgets Mihir's birthday every year, but remembers all the tiny details associated with her. As realization dawns upon her, she cries and rushes to find Karan. Meanwhile, Karan, overwhelmed with remorse, sits outside in the rain, drowning his sorrows, getting drunk with the waiters. He confesses that he is not a good person, and for the first time in his life, he wanted to do something good for a girl, but ended up breaking her heart. He cries, admitting that whenever she cries, it pains him. When he turns around and finds Rhea standing under an umbrella, waiting for him, he keeps on drinking, but when Rhea asks her to go home, he stands up and leaves with her. He stumbles on his walk back home, but Rhea is by his side to help him. As they walk side by side, Rhea sees them both in every couple, and the idea of falling in love once again seems so good. The night concludes with an intimate moment between Karan and Rhea, finding solace in each other's arms as they drift off to sleep. Later at Mihir and Diana's wedding, he asks about Rhea and Karan says that she can't make it, because she is busy. However, when Mihir asks for the wedding ring he left in the car, Karan rushes out to retrieve it, and encounters Rhea at the entrance. She complains that she kept waiting for him, but he didn't come to pick her up, so she came by herself. Throughout the ceremony, Karan agonizes over the belief that what happened between them was all a mistake, and now he has lost her forever. But on the other hand, Rhea thinks about how she has fallen badly for him, and doesn't want to lose him ever. After the ceremony, they both meet outside the church, and Karan apologizes for whatever happened, calling it his mistake, and her heart shatters into a million pieces. He says that they should get married, but Rhea interrupts, saying that if he thinks that what happened between them was a mistake, then they shouldn't make the same mistake by getting married. With tears flowing in her eyes, she leaves him standing alone. As she takes her steps away from him, her eyes overflow and tears fall. Bobby is having fun with her sister when Rhea arrives, her bags packed, ready to leave. As she asks her about her sudden departure, Rhea breaks down into tears. She says that she is leaving the country, doesn't know where or for how long, but all she knows is that she needs to find herself. The mother and daughter duo cries in each other's arms, promising to never leave the side of the other. 2 days later, at the Kapoor residence, Karan sits despondently, untouched breakfast before him. Anju confronts him about his odd behavior and asks if he has gotten into a fight with Rhea. He doesn't respond, and she leaves angrily when the doorbell rings, opening the door to an unexpected sight. On the other side stands Arjun, and Anju is shocked upon seeing her husband. He gets inside, and when he sees the dropped look on his son's face, he asks him about Rhea. When he fails to respond, Arjun sits him down and tells him about all the mistakes he made in his personal life, how he wasn't able to understand his wife, and how he lost so much. Now all he wants is for his son to have a beautiful life, and emphasizes the significance of Rhea and Karan's life. Turns out Rhea called Arjun the other day and told him that she is leaving forever, and from that single sentence, he knew. He knew that Karan had broken an innocent heart. Karan replies that he desperately loves her, but how can she love someone like him? But his dad assures him that 17 years ago, he made the same mistake, of assuming he is unlovable, but he won't let Karan ruin his life. As realization dawns upon him, he gets up to finally give his love another chance. As he drives towards the airport, all the memories of their time spent together come to his mind. Rhea's smile, and how she used to get annoyed at his behavior. He keeps trying her phone, but she never picks up. He rushes to the plane, and even orders Rhea's go to coffee. He gets to her house in Paris, but finds it locked. Turns out she has long left the place, and he feels like he has lost his one chance at true love. In the world of Hum Tum, Hum stands alone by a bridge, missing Tum before sadly departing, realizing that there can never be a Hum without a Tum, symbolizing the irreplaceable bond between them. A whole year passes, and now we are back to where the movie started, at Karan's press conference. He says that many relationships end just because they weren't able to confess. With sad eyes, he confesses the regret of losing Rhea due to his delayed realization of his love for her. When asked if he will ever reunite with her, Karan confidently expresses his belief in their eventual meeting. As Karan leaves the conference, it suddenly starts to rain. He is shocked at this sudden change in weather when he hears a similar voice. He turns around to find Rhea standing in the rain, clutching his book in her hands. Overwhelmed with emotions, she shares that the book reminded her of an old friend, someone she met years ago and kept meeting from time to time, who gradually became her closest confidant. Tears well in her eyes as Karan gently wipes them away, and they embrace each other tightly. In time, their love rekindles, leading to the joyous arrival of a beautiful baby girl, marking the completion of their family, and the beginning of a new chapter in their lives together.